Alright, what's up everybody? It is CSNazo here with my Great Balls of Fire review. Forgive me for the review going up so late. Um, I had to go to sleep like right after the pay-per-view to get up for a 7-hour shift at 6 in the morning. So when I got back home, I'm just like, no, I want to relax a bit. But whatever. I am here with the wow. I lost track of how many notes I got. Jesus, I got like 9 pages here. Oh dear God, this is gonna suck. Alright. Uh, Overall, this was a good pay-per-view. Nothing. I. No, I'm sorry. I'm so used to saying this was a good show. No, this was a good. But no, overall, this was a very good show. I would say 8 out of 10 if I were to rate it. But it did not start out very well. Bray Wyatt versus Seth Rollins. And I don't really have a lot of notes here. This was a solid by the books match. There's nothing really spectacular about it, but nothing really amazing. I mean, nothing really wrong with it either. It was just kind of it was a good, solid match, and that's about it. I mean, like, let me just say that I do feel it is nice that Bray Wyatt actually won a match for once, and not just and not just losing again and again and again. So yeah. After that, we have an interview with the Hardy Boys, and Matt Hardy does more teasing with the broken gimmick, saying that he was watching superhero cartoons with his kids, and now he has to fight essentially supervillains, and he goes, "That is delightfully ironic." So yeah, teasing the broken gimmick more. In all fairness, I really don't think Matt should be teasing the broken gimmick. At least not until they get confirmation that they can or cannot use the gimmick. Matt goes on to talk about just how dangerous Cesaro and Sheamus can be, and then Jeff goes on to talk about how they are the first people. I mean, how they're always like the first ever to do anything. They're always in like the first ever, pretty much everything when it comes to the tag team division. First ever ladder match for the tag titles. First ever. That's all I can remember. I'm sorry. And they said that there's going to be another first ever when they win their tag team Iron Man match against Cesaro and Sheamus. After that, we have the Enzo and Cass match. Uh, I was kind of sort of keeping up on this with the Enzo and Cass breakup thing on Raw, and this is going pretty good. I mean, I like it. The promo from Enzo was kind of long, like longer than I felt it should have been. I just, Still, when we actually got to the match, it was essentially what we were looking for. It was Enzo putting up a fight against Big Cass, but ultimately getting squashed, which is exactly what I would have done if I was writing the scenario. And I think that I think the way they handled it was for the best. But that one promo in the beginning, God, I have a note here that just reads "wrestle already." All right. Then we have the Hardy Boys versus Cesaro and Sheamus match. You'll have to forgive me if I'm kind of speeding through this. I have 9 pages of note here, people. Give me a break. I mean, I usually only have like 3 or 4. Alright, 30-minute Tag Team Iron Man match for the Raw Tag Team titles. And right out of the gate, Sheamus hits, I believe it was... I have the note here. No, Matt. I was going to say Jeff, but no, it's Matt. And they quickly score the first fall. One thing I like is one thing I like. Well, that's a break. That's a blatant contradiction because I was just complaining about this. There was the fact that Matt is shouting "delete" as he's banging Sheamus' head into the ring apron. I know earlier I said that. I know earlier I said that I have a problem with him teasing the broken gimmick until he is. Until we know for certain whether or not he can use the gimmick, and I still hold to that. But there's a part of me that really, really enjoys just hearing him shout "delete, delete, delete" as he's banging Sheamus' head into the apron. I have this one note here that reads, pretty slow, but it is a 30-man Iron Man match, so yeah, I kind of expect a lot of the match to be slow. I mean, these guys have 30 freaking minutes they have to fill. Oh, excuse me, it's pretty late. Anyway, the next fall comes from Cesaro and Sheamus when they do a tag team finisher on Jeff. I don't know what the name of their tag team finisher is. And they score the second fall. At this point, the score is Hardy 0, Cesaro and Sheamus 2. At roughly 18:45, Matt gets the hot tag, and he basically just takes out the team. He then grabs Cesaro and just starts slamming his head into the top turnbuckle, then into the middle turnbuckle, then into the palm turnbuckle. I don't think I've ever seen that before. So, points for originality. And then after that, we have a poetry in motion, then a side effect, then a twist of fate to Cesaro, and that leads to the third fall in favor of the Hardys. The score is now Hardys 1, Cesaro and Sheamus 2. That's pages 1, 2 done. There was a nice poetry in motion outside of the ring spot that I liked. I mean, to be fair, they've probably done this before, but this is the first time I've seen it, so I like that. I mean, it's Jeff Hardy. You know he's got to do some high spots. So I like that spot. Oh yeah. At one point, I believe it was Matt and Cesaro that were outside the ring, and Cesaro just kind of kind of shoves Matt into like the ring post like really freaking hard, and Matt did a tremendous job selling that shove into the ring post because that looked like it freaking hurt. That really did. But because I believe Sheamus was the legal man at this point, he was still in the ring. Matt was on the outside and he couldn't answer the 10 count, so Cesaro and Sheamus get another fall. The score is now Hardy's 1, Cesaro and Sheamus 3. I don't know why I wrote Cesaro here because this was clearly Sheamus. Sheamus was going to do his 10 punch to the chest thing that he does with his opponent on the ropes. But in a real, in a heel move that I like, anyway, he does like 2 of them and then stops and then just throws Matt to ringside, probably looking to get another fall from via count out, or at least I think that's the plan. Because I think at some point he leaves the ring, throws Matt back in the ring, and that screws it up. The Hardy Boys do a new tag team finisher to someone. I'm going to assume it's Sheamus this time around because they already did a fall on Cesaro. A new tag team finisher. I don't even remember the finisher, to be honest, and that disappoints me. I'm very sorry, guys. I wish I remembered the finisher. Man, what was it? I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. But that leads to the fifth fall. The score is now Hardy's 2, Cesaro and Sheamus 3. After that, Cesaro and Sheamus tried to get another tag team finisher on one of them. Actually, that doesn't happen like right afterwards. I apologize, but that happened shortly after, but not right after the fifth fall. But luckily, Matt's there to break it up. I'm not sure what the crowd was chanting here, but it sounded like they were chanting, "Matt, you suck." Can someone clarify that for me? Because I don't understand that. I really don't understand that. Anyway. Then Matt does what I can only describe as a super twist of fate from the top turnbuckle to Sheamus, and that leads to the sixth fall. The score is now tied: Hardy's 3, Cesaro and Sheamus 3. And it's at this point the match really starts picking up because, I mean, here's the thing: the first 20 minutes of this 30-man Iron Man match are very, very slow. Not very exciting at all. Which, I mean, it's a 30-minute Iron Man match. That's to be expected. But in these last 10 minutes, oh my god, this match is so good. At one point, the Hardys do a double dive off the top rope. I believe Matt does an elbow drop, and I believe Jeff does a leg drop. And at another point, after hitting a move, Matt starts to bleed, but he tags in Jeff, and Jeff actually hits a swanton onto Sheamus, but because Jeff is just so exhausted, Cesaro, who is the proper legal man, just rushes into the ring, covers Jeff for the 1-2-3, leading to the 7th fall. And this is like, I think 20 seconds before the match is over. The score is Hardy's 3, Cesaro and Sheamus 4, and the match basically ends with Cesaro and Sheamus just running around the ring because they have that 1-point lead. Now they just need to avoid getting that last fall. And they did it. So Cesaro and Sheamus wind up walking out of Great Balls of Fire, the Raw Tag Team Champions. Oh, yeah. Alright. I apologize for all the yawning in this video. I've gotten used to going to bed early for my work. Let's move on to the next match, which is Sasha Banks versus Alexa Bliss for the Raw Women's Championship. Again, a very good match. Again, not too much spectacular. I do have some things I want to bring up, like I mean, there are some things I want to bring up, but overall, this was just a good match. Nothing spectacular, but nothing anywhere remote. Nowhere near bad at all. First thing I'd like to bring up is the one thing everyone's going to remember from this match, and it is Alexa faking out everyone. I mean, apparently she's like double jointed, so she can like bend her arm in a way that's like not natural. So she like fakes everyone thinking like, oh my god, my arm is broken, stop the match. And I'm not gonna lie, like, I fell for it. I'm just like, oh my god, Alexa Bliss's arm's broken. I mean, I guess there was like a very, very, very tiny part of me that's like, Alexa Bliss is faking this for like a heel move, but for the most part, I was convinced that she had broken her arm. And that's something I always appreciate heels being able to do. You know, like heels actually being able to fake the crowd out into thinking that no, I'm like legit. I'm like legit here. Like, I mean, I'm like legitimately hurt here, or I am legitimately retiring in the case of Mark Henry. Another thing I'd like to bring up is, never mind that because I can't remember enough details about that to really describe it. Anyway, this was a very good match up until the very end, where Alexa Bliss basically win. Well, I mean, Alexa Bliss doesn't win the match; she loses the match, but it's via countout, so she retains the title. So yeah, kind of a cop out there, but still, I mean, everything up until the end was very good for this match. So yeah. After the match, Bliss and Banks actually brawl at the top of the ramp, and I believe it was Bliss who prepped the English announce table for some kind of move to Sasha, but Sasha counters it, throws Alexa Bliss off the announce table and onto the floor, and then does a diving double knee thing into Bliss from the top of the table. So, yeah, I mean, even though Bliss is walking out the champion, Banks made a statement, so yeah, there's that. She keeps her heat. Oh yeah, and there's one other thing I'd like to bring up real fast. Apparently, AJ Styles won the United States Championship at a house show, and this is considered canon. And it's, why am I figuring out about this on Raw? And I can't imagine this doing anything good for the story of the feud between Styles and Owens, because because the feud, I mean, at least from my point of view, seems to revolve around Styles trying to get his hands on the U.S. Championship and Owens just keeping it away from him. So now that Styles has won the title, it seems like there is just nothing left of the feud. I mean, like, they're going to have their championship match at the pay-per-view, but that's just going to be it. I'm actually checking WWE.com to confirm this real fast, though. To confirm that AJ Styles is confirmed the new U.S. champion. And yes, he is confirmed the new U.S. champion. What the hell? What the actual... house show? The last time I had ever heard of, like, a title changing hands at a house show was at, I think back in 2000, I want to say 11, where Air Boom lost the tag titles to the Colognes. I think it was the Colognes. Just, I thought those house shows have been non-canon for years, because from what I've heard, Dean Ambrose actually won the WWE title, like, during Roman's feud with AJ Styles. Like, before, like, Money in the Bank, Dean Ambrose won the WWE title from Roman Reigns, but that was considered non-canon. And I mean, don't get me wrong, AJ Styles is a good wrestler. I mean, they're both good wrestlers. It's just, why would you do that? Okay, I'm spending way too much time complaining about this Styles U.S. title thing. let's move on. Next we got Miz versus Dean Ambrose for the Intercontinental title, and this is something I missed apparently. Since my last time watching Raw, which was for my first Rambles about wrestling video. Apparently Miz got like an entourage to back him up, and like that caused Dean some problems on the Go Home show to Great Balls of Fire. And the first thing Ambrose does is he goes right after the Miz entourage. So yeah, I guess the idea is to take him out early. This match was very by the books. Nothing. I mean, it's like the Rollins Wyatt match. Nothing bad, but nothing spectacular either. Like it was just kind of okay. I do like the fact that at the end of the day it was Miz who came out on top with the help of the Miz entourage. I do like that a lot. It's immediately after this match that I realized. I mean, watching this match, I'm just like, okay, there's only one more match tonight, and that's gonna be Samoa Joe versus Brock Lesnar. And then immediately after this match, I go, oh no, I still got the Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman match. And to be honest, I was looking at that match way more negatively than I should have, because moving on to Braun Strowman versus Roman Reigns, this is actually a really good match. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I'm not Roman Reigns' biggest fan, but this was a good match. This was a really good match. So, credit where credit is due, Roman. You did good. I still think you're damaged goods, and you should probably either turn heel, which we'll get to later, or go down to the mid card for a while. But for this match, you did good. It starts out pretty evenly matched, but at one point, Braun gets the upper hand, and he just legit carries Roman up the ramp until Roman just kind of squirms his way out of it and just runs back into the ring. And at one point during the match, Roman actually does a Samoan drop to Braun Strowman, and commentary makes this huge freaking deal over the fact that, oh my god, Roman just Samoan dropped Braun Strowman. And I'm just like, okay. Like, that was something I never had a problem believing Roman could do anyway, so I don't see how this is like an amazing feat of strength. Well, I mean, to be fair, it is an amazing feat of strength because I certainly couldn't do that. But I mean, in terms of what we already know Roman can do, comparing what we've seen Roman do to him Samoan dropping Braun Strowman, it's nothing special. At least when you compare it to some of the other stuff he's done. At one point, Roman starts hitting Braun's arm with a steel chair, and he basically sandwiches Braun's arm between the ring post and the chair. But then once Roman gets his hand out of that position, let's just say, he starts walking away, and Roman starts doing shots to Braun's body, which Braun just shoves off. I mean, like, he just shoves it off. Like, it barely affects him. Like, he barely notices. And all it did is piss him off. I'm just like, oh, wow. This is, I like this. I like this a lot. And this fight basically just goes up the ramp. And I think Braun was, like, about to put Roman I'm in the ambulance, but then something went wrong, and Roman's like, No, no, no. I'm gonna go to the announce table and I'm gonna set this up for a spot, which I don't think we ever see. I don't think we ever see that table get destroyed, ever. So, WWE, you need to learn about Chekhov's gun. In that, if you introduce a gun in the first act, you must use it either in the second or the third act. That announce table was prepped for like some spot where the table was going to break. And maybe I'm just really tired. Maybe I was just really tired when I was watching the pay-per-view too. But I don't remember that table breaking. I mean, it's like they were supposed to do a table spot, but then they both just forgot about it. After Braun finishes prepping the announce table, one thing that I noticed that was very inconsistent is that while Braun Strowman is just kind of shoving off like Roman's punches like they're nothing, punches no, his shots with the steel chair like they're nothing. His fists, is apparently something he just can't handle. Like, like he is properly feeling the pain from these punches. Or at least he's selling the punches. And, like, you were just no selling a chair shot by the same man. Why are his punches... It really doesn't make any sense, because what's the point of using the chair if your punches are just so much more effective than using the chair? Why? At one point, Braun actually picks up Roman Reigns and throws him into the side of the ambulance. And then Strowman opens the... actually, you know what? I'm not even going to quote this one note because, again, I could be remembering it wrong. At one point, Braun decides that he's going to throw Roman back onto the stage for some reason. And I think Strowman was going to put Roman through the Minitron, but like Roman did a thing and Braun wound up going through it instead. Still, considering what both of these men had just gone through, it is understandable that both men were not able to get up right away because Reigns wasn't able to get up right away, and neither was Braun. After that, Braun actually throws Roman off the stage, and he's about to put Roman in the ambulance, but eventually Roman gets the upper hand, and the roles are reversed, where Roman is about to put Braun in the ambulance, until Roman goes to spear Braun Strowman, and Strowman just kind of dodges out of the way. Roman goes flying into the ambulance, and Braun just closes the doors on him, winning the match. And I mean, it's like I said, you know, with the way they're booking Roman Reigns, I like seeing him lose. But Roman just immediately jumps out of the ambulance. Well, I guess it technically is a car. And just starts going right after Braun. And then, and this is something that has a lot of the wrestling community talking, Roman actually puts Braun into the ambulance. Then Roman gets into the ambulance and drives it into the, I guess it's the parking garage. And Roman sees like what I assume is a production truck, and just kind of backs the ambulance full speed. Excuse me. Into the production truck, apparently causing severe injury to Braun Strowman. But when I first saw it, I'm just like, okay, that would cause a mild amount of damage. Honestly, unless Braun was hugging the door to the unless Braun was hugging the ambulance's back door, I don't see how that did any major damage to him. But everyone else was treating it like, oh my god, Roman just killed Braun. And that is literally what it was treated like. Like, there was a good few minutes where Kurt is like calling over staff, yelling, call 911, call 911. And they're trying to get Braun out of there. And they actually put on another match, another short match, Kurt Hawkins versus Heath Slater. Why was this match needed? Why? Why was this match needed? You didn't need this match at all. You didn't need it. It just felt like an afterthought. And, but yeah, like, we see them wrestle for, like, a minute or two. And then we cut back to the garage, and you can actually hear, over the intercom that Heath Slater just kind of wins. He just kind of wins off screen. I mean, if the finish to a match, to an official WWE match is going to happen off screen, don't freaking bother us with, like, the entrances and all that. Just, it may as well be a dark match. It may as well, or a pre-show match. Just don't do it. It's not necessary in the slightest. But the commentary team is really treating this like, like a really big deal. Like, oh my god, Roman just tried to kill Braun Strowman. And at first, I was going to think, okay, well, this is just, Roman Reigns getting revenge. There's no way he's turning heel. And there's still a part of me that believes, I think it's pretty safe to say that Roman is not turning heel from this. But there's a part of me that really wants to believe he is, because, for one thing, it would be really good for Roman's character if he turned heel right now. And the WWE was really, really, really strongly hinting at it. Like, I have seen, like, baby faces do, like, really heelish things and stay baby faces, and the commentary team just kind of writes it off as just kind of, oh, well, that's life here in the WWE, or, oh, that bad guy is getting what he's deserved. But no, the commentary team was treating what Roman did like he had crossed the line. Like, yeah, I know Braun Strowman isn't exactly the nicest guy on the planet, but really, that far? And eventually what happens is the fire department comes in. They use the Jaws of Life to open the door to the ambulance, and Braun just kind of crawls out of the ambulance on his own power, and, like, all the emergency staff are there trying to convince him to get on the gurney and just go to the hospital, but Braun, just covered in blood, is like, no, refusing help, and just kind of stumbles off. And this is where things really get interesting. Was this a double turn? Because when the pay-per-view is said and done, Roman tried to kill a man, or at the very least, that's what the commentary team basically described it as. They didn't outright say like Roman tried to murder him, but they definitely implied that he crossed the line and went too far. Whereas Braun Strowman is the guy who took that beating, refusing medical help, and is just like, no, I can do this. Who is the man you're going to cheer here? Now, like I said, there's a very strong likelihood that I am wrong here. In fact, I would actually put money on me being wrong. But, at the same time, it really does feel like this is a Roman heel turn. Or at the very least, the start of it. Because commentary was treating this like Roman had crossed a line. Like, Braun did not deserve what Roman did to him. There is one problem I do have with this match though, and that's that one of the matches that uh, they were hyping up. The Raw brand was hyping up for this pay-per-view since the very beginning was Samoa Joe versus Brock Lesnar, and I just feel this match took like a little too much time away from that. Like this match won. According to Simon Miller on What Culture, this match went about 6 minutes, which is stupid. And it still wound up going over. Although then again, that could have just been the WWE network buffering on it. Like, seriously? We couldn't have just cut like 5 or 10 minutes from the Roman Braun thing. Don't get me wrong. That was brilliant. The Roman Braun thing was brilliant. But we couldn't have just taken like 5 minutes off of that and given it to Samoa Joe versus Lesnar to make that better? Well, apparently not. No, I screwed up. I don't have 9 pages. I have 8 pages. It's just that one of these pages is just have one side. Whatever. Anyway, here we are at our main event: Samoa Joe versus Brock Lesnar. Full entrances, full intros. As I believe it was Lillian Garcia who was introducing the competitors. As she's introducing Lesnar, he turns his back to Joe to kind of just like pose with the belt. Joe takes advantage and attacks Lesnar before the bell. And like, again, before the match even starts, Joe just put Lesnar through the Spanish announce table. And there's one thing I'd like to point out that I just realized. The English announce table was prepped for a table breaking spot, and it never happened. The Spanish announce table was never prepped for a table breaking spot, and that still happened. What the heck, WWE? Again, Chekhov's gun. You can't introduce a gun in the first act if you don't use it. Well, you can do that. You can introduce a gun in the first act and then just not use it in the second and third act, but it wouldn't be very good. Anyway, Lesnar eventually manages to bring himself in the ring, to which Joe just goes full steam ahead at Lesnar and does just a ton of damage. But eventually Lesnar gets the upper hand and starts taking Joe to Suplex City. But it's not enough. Joe eventually manages to use the rope to like pull himself up, and that's when Lesnar just goes like right at him. And as the ref is trying to break him up because they're in the ropes, so like Lesnar can't attack Joe without getting disqualified. While the ref is distracted by that, he doesn't see Joe low blow Lesnar. He doesn't see Joe low blow Lesnar like at all. This is actually something I really like. I really like this dynamic of like these two monster heels that are both main eventers at this point. These two main event monster heels just going at each other with tactics like this. I really like it. I love it. And this is why I wanted the match to go on longer. And I said it before in this video. Braun and Roman was very good, but could have shaved like 5 or 10 minutes off of it and given it to Joe versus Lesnar. Made that something really, really special, but no. Eventually, when Joe does get full control, he puts Lesnar in the coquina clutch. and Lesnar actually does a side slam to Joe in order to escape the Coquina Clutch, at which point Joe goes to Suplex City again. And when that proves to not be enough, Lesnar goes for the F5, but unfortunately, Joe is able to squirm his way out of it and locks in the Coquina Clutch. Unfortunately, Lesnar is able to break out of this. He puts Joe in for the F5, hits it, 1, 2, 3, even though this is a really big main event match and Joe is a monster heel. 1 F5 is enough to put him away. That is my biggest problem with the match, that it was 1 F5. If it was like 2 F5s, again, if the match had gone on for another 5 minutes and Joe was hit by another F5, I wouldn't have had any problems with this match. But, man, 1 F5, Roman just straight up buried Joe. Well, he didn't bury him, but he certainly didn't do Joe any favors. Anyway, that was my review of the Raw exclusive pay-per-view Great Balls of Fire. Hopefully I will see you guys on Wednesday, but more likely Thursday, knowing how much I like to procrastinate. For my review of the, what day is it going to be? June 11th, I believe. Yes, the June 11th edition of SmackDown Live, or at the very least, my Rambles about video about it. Alright? So I will see you guys then.